Hey guys, it's Grant from GoGo Rental. In this video, we're going to show you everything you need to know about your motorhome rental. Let's start with the exterior cameras. Located up front, you're going to have your side view cameras. When you turn on your left or right blinker, that's going to show up on your center display, showing you your blind spots. In the rear of the camper, you will have your backup camera. When you put it in reverse, it'll display the backup camera, as well as you'll be able to see that while you're driving. A few other things you should know: you'll find storage compartments around the outside of the motorhome. You'll also find 110 ports either in those storage compartments or directly outside. Also be mindful of your water heater vent. While running, it gets super hot, so you don't want anything leaning against it or touching it. All motorhomes are going to have your driver key or your ignition key. That'll look like that. And then your purple key is going to be for the deadbolt and the handle on the entry door of the passenger side, as well as you will have a small 751 silver key that will be to lock and unlock all of your compartments around the unit. If you do have a fob with your motorhome and you use the unlock and lock feature, just know it's just going to lock the two cab doors. It's not going to lock your coach door. You're also going to have an awning and exterior lighting. Those are controlled from the inside of the unit, so we'll go over that on the interior. On the driver's side of your motorhome, your first compartment is going to be your onboard generator. The generator is going to run off the gas tank of the unit. So if you're under a fourth of a tank or your gas light is on, the generator is going to putter out and stop, so your unit does not run out of gas. If you have a diesel motorhome, your generator is going to run off of propane. So you want to make sure that your propane knob is turned on, and that way you'll be able to start your generator. You won't have to go in this compartment for anything. It is nice to know where it's at, but the start and stop for the generator is located on the inside of the motorhome. You also have a wired in power cord. That's a 30-foot, 30-amp power cord. That's going to be on the driver's side compartment. If your power cord is not hardwired into the unit, you'll have a detachable power cord. So it'll be the same 30-foot power cord, 30-amp plug. Plug it into a socket on the side of your motorhome, screw it on tight. Your other end is going to plug into your power supply. If you know that you're going to need a 50-amp or a 110 adapter, make sure to get that from a GoGo Rental staff member before you take off. On the back driver's side, you're going to find your water hookups, your sewer hookups, as well as your gas fill. If you're in one of our gas motorhomes, anything from 87 to 91 is fine to put in the unit. Our diesel motorhomes, you want to ensure that you either have a diesel 1 or diesel 2. There's two different water systems in our rental fleet on the motorhomes. If your motorhome resembles this setup, you're going to want to take your freshwater hose and connect it to the city water connection. Whether you're hooked up at your campground or you're trying to fill up the freshwater tank, your water hose will only be hooked up to the city water connection. Once your freshwater hose is hooked up to the city water connection, then you can use the mapping system to direct where the water flows. If you want to fill up your freshwater tank and get ready for travel, you can have it at the 1 and 6 setting. Let your water flow in through the city water connection, filling up your portable water or your freshwater tank. When you're ready to use that water, you'll turn on the water pump on the inside. But before you do that, you're going to want to change it to the normal setting, which would be at the 3 and the 5 setting. This will allow the water to flow from the freshwater tank to your water pump, giving you pressure throughout the coach. Let's say you're at a campground where you have a water supply and your freshwater hose ready. You'll plug into the city water connection and you'll have your map setting at city fixtures. This would be at the 2 and the 6 setting. That will allow the water to flow from your water supply to all the faucets throughout the coach. The other water system will have a city water connection as well as a separate fill for the freshwater tank. Our motorhomes are all going to have an outdoor shower, typically around the water hookup station. If they are not in the same compartment of the water hookup station, it will be in a separate locked compartment. To drain the water out of your freshwater tank, simply open up the low point drain. It will also have a black tank flush. Your black tank flush is to flush out your toilet or the black tank. If your sensors weren't reading correctly or you wanted to give it a good flush before you're dumping your sewer tanks, you would hook up your freshwater hose to the black tank flush. Be careful if you are hooked up to that, water turned on, that you are mindful of your sensors on the inside, checking them and making sure you do not leave it unattended, as you will have water coming up through the toilet. If you are going to use the black tank flush while dumping your unit, Make sure that you are hooked up to the sewer outlet at your dump station, as well as monitoring the level. You would like to be at that 2/3 level of when you're able to pull the handle and let your tank dump. When it comes time to dump your holding tanks, you're gonna find your sewer hose in the back bumper of the motorhome. Once you have your sewer hose, you're going to come over to the sewer connection, remove the cap for the sewer connection, take your sewer hose and screw that on. Once that's connected, make sure your other end is firmly into the ground, into the dump station, and then you'll have a black tank pole and a gray tank pole. We tell people, pull your black tank first, let the black get done dumping everything that's in your toilet. Once that is done being dumped, you can tell nothing else is coming through the hose. Open the gray tank water, which is your sink water and shower water, which will rinse out those sewer hose for you. First, hook up your sewer hose, make sure your connection is good on the other end. Pull the black tank first, let that get done dumping. Close the black, open the gray water, let that flush out the hose. Once that's done dumping, close the gray water, remove your sewer hose, replace the cap on the sewer outlet, and then re-put your hose in the back bumper. All of our motorhomes are going to have a propane compartment, easily identified by the compartment that does not have a lock on it. Inside your propane compartment, you're going to have your knob to turn your propane on or off. Turning the knob counterclockwise will turn your propane on, so you can use any of your water heater, cooking in the unit, furnace, and run your fridge freezer. To turn off the propane, you would turn it clockwise to close it. You also have a refill station here, or a refill hookup. They will use that when you are refilling the propane, wherever you're getting that refilled at. You also have a gauge out there to tell you the reading if you're getting low on propane and it's time to fill up, or if you're already full on propane and you just need to turn the lines on. Your propane tank will be filled on the day of pickup, and we ask that you return it full. That's everything you need to know about the outside of your motorhome. Let's take a look inside. Right away on the interior of the motorhome, you're going to notice you have a main power shutoff or a main battery disconnect switch. That's going to be standard on all motorhomes in our rental fleet. You want to ensure that the main power switch is turned on, so everything behind the cab will operate as it should. You also notice you have a switch for inside speakers or outside speakers, as well as you have a power step switch on or off. The power step is if you want the automatic step to stay out when you guys are at your location. You don't wait for it to open and close or come back and forth. Every time you open and close the door, you can leave it off and the step will stay out. If you turn it on, every time you leave it on, the door closes, the step will come inside. You'll have an awning in and out switch located inside the door as well. Hold the awning switch all the way until you have the awning out as far as you would like, and then to put the awning in, push the button up until the awning has come completely back to the sides of the unit. You're also going to have your exterior lighting switch right inside the door when you walk in. On the control panel in your motorhome, that's going to house your generator start and stop. It's going to have your slide out switches for any of the slide outs that you may have on your motorhome. You're also going to find your tank levels between your battery, fresh, gray, and black tanks. And then you're going to have your tank heaters, water pump, and then your option between an electric water heater or a propane water heater. To operate your generator, you'll hold down on the stop until the red light shows up showing that it's primed. Then you'll hold up on the start button until the generator starts. To shut off the generator, all you'll need to do is hit down on the stop button and let the generator shut off. Your extend and retract for your slide outs. You can push the button to extend your slide out all the way out. Once the slide out is slid all the way out, the motor will just stop. And then to retract your slide out, hold down on the retract button and that will retract your slide out back in. Do make sure that your slide out is clear of any obstructions on the outside or inside when operating that slide in or out. Tank heaters are there to heat the underbelly of the camper. If you're below freezing temperatures overnight, you can turn on your tank heaters to keep the underbelly and keep all your water lines open. You'll also have the water pump. If you have water in your freshwater tank, you can operate the water pump by simply switching on the water pump switch. This is going to give you pressure to all your faucets and toilets throughout the unit. Last, you're going to have the option between your electric water heater and your propane water heater. Your electric water heater, you do need to be plugged into power or have your generator running. It typically takes 15 to 20 minutes for the water heater to heat on the electric element, versus the propane element takes about 5 to 10 minutes to heat that water tank. Using that propane water heater, you can turn on the propane water heater switch. The water heater on the propane side will try to light 3 times in 30 seconds. If it does not ignite, simply turn the water heater switch off. You can try to run the line on the stovetop, starting the stovetop burner to get the bubble out of the line, or making sure that your propane is turned on in the first place. You do need to choose between electric or propane on your water heater. It is not good to run both at the same time. All of our Class C motorhomes are going to have a sleeping area above the cab, accompanied with a TV entertainment system. The entertainment system is going to have any HDMI 110 ports for any of your devices that you would like to connect to the TV. The bunk space will also come with a ladder that's detachable while you guys are driving, but allows you to get up there safely. Our motorhomes are going to have a variety of different sleeping options, starting with the queen size bed that's typically in the back. If your motorhome is a larger motorhome, you will have twin size bunks on your slide outs. And then up front, you typically will either have a couch or a dinette. Both the couch and the dinette will both turn into full-size sleepers. Simply lift up on the front while pushing down on the back to make this down into a sleeper, and repeat that same steps backwards to put it back into the couch. The dinette, you'll simply take the table off and then slide it down into the notches below, collapse the cushions, making it into the sleeper. In your motorhome, you're going to have a microwave. Works like a normal microwave, but you do need to be plugged into shore power or have your generator running to operate the microwave. You're going to have a stovetop burner accompanied by an oven. Your stovetop burners, you will need to have your propane turned on. Simple as turning it to the flame and then using your igniter on the far left, twisting it until you have a lit stovetop, and then obviously you can turn it to whatever flame or temperature you'd like. Same thing is for the oven. All you have to do is turn it to the flame, hold in for about 10 to 20 seconds to actually let that propane funnel into the oven. Still use your igniter on the far left. Once your pilot light is lit on the bottom of that oven, you'll turn it to whatever temperature you want that oven to go to, and it'll light the whole board there and heat up. Do make sure that you're not cooking on top of the glass here, making sure that you lift the glass up and out of the way before you start cooking, and when you're done cooking, putting the glass back over top. You're gonna have 2 options for your fridge freezer. You're gonna have a 2-way fridge freezer running off of electric or propane, or you're gonna have a completely 12-volt fridge freezer that's gonna rely completely off the battery. This here is gonna be a 2-way fridge freezer, so you can turn it on. You'll have 3 different modes. You have the auto setting, so we're just gonna search for electricity first. So being plugged into power via shore power on the side of the unit, or having that generator running. If it does not find that electric element, it's going to switch automatically over to propane. So you'd have to ensure that your propane tank is turned on the outside of the camper. If you knew that you were going to be plugged in and you just wanted to run it off electric, you can have it set just to the electric mode, as well as if you're just going to be driving down the road or you weren't going to be plugged in at your campground, you could have it just off of propane, so you know your fridge freezer is running off of the propane only. If your motorhome does have a 12-volt battery fridge freezer, make sure that you are keeping an eye on the battery levels and get plugged in as soon as possible, or make sure that you're starting the generator every 4 to 6 hours. Next, you're going to have your thermostat here. Your thermostat is going to either be a thermostat that's manual like this or a digital thermostat. You're going to run your furnace and your air conditioning off of the thermostats. Your furnace, all you'd have to do is select your heat setting and then slide it to whatever temperature you would like the heat to be at. And then switching over to your AC is as simple as going over to the cool, selecting what temperature you would like your AC to be running at. You do need to be plugged into shore power or have your generator running to operate the AC. Also, you'll have your fan selection here. You can have a fan low or a fan high. You also have the option for an auto low or an auto high. We recommend that you keep it on the auto side so that when your unit reaches temperature, it gives itself some time to cool down and relax, as well as you won't freeze up your sensor inside the AC. Last thing is going to be your bathroom. All of our motorhomes are going to have a wet toilet with a foot pedal flush, hot and cold water on the shower, and have a sink. We are going to have the toilet paper and chemical supplied for you in the bathroom. Do use our toilet paper so you don't have a problem with clogging in the septic. The cab of the motorhome isn't going to have too much different than your daily driver. You'll have USB ports, charging ports throughout. You'll have a Bluetooth radio, regular radio. You will have your side camera mirrors as you turn on your blinkers left or right, as well as the backup camera will display when you put that in reverse. You'll also have your heat, AC controls like normal up here on the dash. Your cruise control will all be off of the wheel, and you should be ready to head out. And that's everything you need to know for your motorhome rental. If you have any questions about your specific motorhome, make sure to ask a GoGo rental staff member. We hope you have a great trip and enjoy your adventure.